The laws of nature and science dictate that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If there exists something positive, there will always be a negative to balance it out, and vice versa. Each and everything in this universe is accounted for. The magnitude of energy in this universe/creation is constant, but it constantly changes its forms to balance the scales between positive and negative. I have been living alone in this house. It's an apartment with one hall, a bedroom, a kitchen, and of course, a bathroom. When you climb up the steps in our building, the door to my house is on the left side of the stairs. Once you enter the door, you've entered the living room. Diagonally left to the door directly leads to the kitchen. While traversing the passage, on the left side is the bathroom and on the right side is the bedroom. So basically, if I look out of my bedroom through the bedroom door, I'll see the kitchen. And this is where it all began. We are Hindus. My mom was a pious devotee. And this is the incident she told me which happened with her. She was newly married to my dad and shifted to this new house they had purchased together. Our building was part of a colony that was being constructed at that time in the 1980s. A place where development had just begun. The natives of that place were tribals for the most part. Mom and dad used to sleep in the bedroom. Including my parents, there were four other families who had purchased a property in our building with 32 flats. So 28 were basically very less. As I was saying, mom and dad used to sleep in the bedroom back then, and if you looked through the bedroom door, you'd be able to see the kitchen, the cooking platform, and the window above the cooking platform. It had barely been a month since they moved in, and dad sometimes used to come back home late from work. Sometimes it would be as late as 2 a.m. in the night, and mom would simply stay up waiting for him. One such night, at around 1 a.m., mom was sitting in the bedroom waiting up for him and listening to the radio. Suddenly, the radio started making these weird frequency tuning noise and stopped working altogether suddenly. The lights in all of the rooms, except the room occupied by them, would be turned off to minimize the use of electricity and reduce our bills. So at that time, only the light in the bedroom was on, and the rest of the lights were off. Mom thought that the batteries must have died in the radio, so she wanted to get spare batteries from the miscellaneous storage from the kitchen. The moment she opened the bedroom to go to the kitchen, what she saw sent chills down to the very core of her soul. She saw a four-legged entity trying to climb down from the kitchen ceiling onto the kitchen cooking platform. That entity was fully dressed in white, or it was luminescent because it was clearly visible in that unlit kitchen. Imagine you opening a door to see something crawl down on all its fours from the ceiling. My mom was brave enough because she was pious and always had faith in her belief of God. She closed the bedroom door as she opened it, sat on the bed, and started praying. The bedroom door started rattling as if someone was trying to push it open. Mom was no doubt scared, but she kept on reciting the chants of Lord Krishna and she didn't realize when she fell asleep. Soon, Dad arrived and she told this incident to him. He just shrugged it off as her mere imagination and they went to bed. That night itself, Mom started feeling uneasy in her sleep and got up to grab a glass of water. And she looked through the bedroom door, which used to be kept open if Dad was in the house. She once again saw that white luminous entity, but this time it was standing leaning on the platform of the kitchen, like a human leaning against the wall. Mom described it as having no distinct facial features, just a glowing humanoid entity. Once again, Mom simply went to bed while chanting Lord Krishna's name. Next day, she placed a photo of a saint in the kitchen. Since then, the entity was never seen again physically, but Mom always felt some presence. To be honest, with everyone reading this, I never believed in all this until I started experiencing it myself. She had dug deeper to try and understand this phenomenon and shared a lot of surprising information with me. She learned that the name of this entity is Magrur, or the arrogant one. It feeds on the life force or health of living beings, be it animals or humans, just like some entities feed on fear. It starts by feeding off on the primary member of the family, or the strongest one. For example, in a nuclear family of three members consisting of a husband, wife, and child, it would start feeding off of the husband. then the wife, and then finally the child. My mom, within 1 year of my dad's death, went into a coma without any reason. I can even tell you how this happened. One night after dad's death, mom and I were sleeping in the living room. I heard someone sobbing and woke up to realize that mom was crying in her sleep. She was asleep, but crying. I woke her up and asked her what happened. Her first response was, "Who are you?" I was dumbfounded. She couldn't recognize me. Her own son. I tried to remind her, but was unsuccessful. I immediately called my maternal uncles and informed them that this is what is happening and that mom's acting weird and not recognizing me and is asking me to go away and to leave her alone. One of my uncles came over in an hour with an ambulance and we got her admitted to a prestigious hospital in Mumbai, which is where I'm from. The moment we reached the hospital, mom, who was struggling to get off the ambulance and fighting, arguing with me and my uncle, whom she didn't recognize, suddenly fell flat on the ambulance bed and didn't wake up. Doctors said she had gone into a coma for unknown reasons. All I remember them now saying is that all her hormones were in place. Her medical reports were absolutely normal. Doctors could never find the reason for her going into a comatose state. Weirdest part is that she woke up being her usual self within a week of getting out of that house. When I came back home in the afternoon, I went to my neighbor auntie to ask her for the key. These were her words. "Huh? You just arrived from college? Then who was that I heard opening and closing your door 3 to 4 times just a while ago? I thought you must be trying to open your door, and you're facing a difficulty trying to open it. So I opened my door to check up on you. But your door was being rattled from the inside of the house, so I thought you must have gone in with a spare key, and you're back home. So I went back to doing my work. I was shocked to the core on hearing this. So I told my neighbor auntie that I just arrived now. So she called another guy from our building and we three went to open the door of my house, suspecting that there were thieves. There was a lock and there was a latch. The lock could be opened from outside with a door key, but the latch was just a primitive slide in the slot mechanism, which needs to be done manually from inside the house. Now, I opened the door lock with the key and tried opening the door, but it wouldn't open. All three of us tried to open the door, but it just wouldn't open. Then we resorted to brute force, and it made a loud commotion, and thus a lot of people from the building came to see what was going on. They were made aware of the situation, I tried breaking the door and ramming. The door finally opened with a thud, and something came off the door. It was the latch that was still in its socket as the whole thing broke and fell off. Someone, or something, had locked the door from inside the house. To our horror, every window in the house was wide open. My childhood photo, which had been hanging tight on the wall for the past 20 years in the living room, had fallen down and broken. No, not just the glass. The photo itself had somehow broken. The chairs and dining table were upside down, and there was nobody in the house as we suspected. You must be thinking that the thief must have escaped from the window. But the windows had metal grills on the outside, which were designed specifically for anti theft. I ended up spending that night at a friend's house, trying to comprehend what was happening, but I couldn't make sense of it. When I went back to my house the morning after, I felt true fear, like I'd never felt before. It was my neighbor auntie's decapitated head, hanging from the latch, which was somehow not broken. When I saw this, I finally realized that I wasn't going to be able to survive this curse that my mom had tried so hard to explain to me and protect me from. I finally realized that there was no way for me to make it alive out of this.